What's going on, guys? Previously, get back a brand new video, and today we are going to be previewing the 2015 GP2 series season. This will be the 11th season racing from GP2, one of my favourite motorsports, and I'm really hoping it's going to be even better in 2015. You know, it was really strong 2014 season. Not quite the championship fight we wanted with so many top names. I think this season's field is probably even stronger, and I think we will get a close to championship fight, hopefully between Van Dorn, probably the two Dams, you know, possibly Mitch Evans, Rafael Macedo. As I just said the other day, don't count Trident out, which I think many people were, that car. Probably not a championship contender, but, he's saying it is, so, we'll just have to see. We'll do our usual then, team by team preview. We'll start off with the reigning world champions, that is Dams. This year they've gone with Pierre Gasly and Alex Lynn. Of course, Jolene Palmer being banned from the series, and Riquelme pursuing other areas. Dams, certainly once again have a really strong lineup. This, season's lineup is definitely stronger than last year, in my opinion. Riquelme, I don't think really deserved another year, so it's nice to see two new fresh faces. Basically, the GP2 as well. They're pretty much both rookies. I mean, Gasly did a few races towards the back end of last season, but he was driving a Caterham, and we'll have to see. How experience is going to pay this year, because I think the drivers with not much experience are actually going to come through and probably beat the guys with a lot more experience. Gasly and Lynn, two really young, very quick guys. Of course, Gasly in the Red Bull Junior team, Alex Lynn a former member of the Red Bull Junior team, now of the Williams kind of young driver program. So it's going to be nice to see the dynamic between them, the current Red Bull young driver and the kind of ex turned Williams Red Bull young driver. Of course, Alex Lynn, they won the 2014 GP3 Championship, so we know he's very quick and should be very, very racy. We didn't see too much good kind of overtaking from him in GP3 last season, but of course that might change in GP2. It would be much easier to overtake and much easier to kind of show you really good racecraft, which Lynn just couldn't quite show in GP3. He usually went backwards in the sprint races, and that's kind of something he really doesn't want to do this time. He always got qualifying right, and he always got the feature race right most of the time. So if he can work on the sprint race, that will really help him in his championship challenge. But he's going to have a really tough, task against Gasly, who's definitely inside the top three favourites for this championship. Really fast Frenchman, really good through testing, and of course with that Dams car, it's going to be extremely quick, and with the Red Bull backing as well, he's definitely got to be, like I mentioned, one of the favourites, along with Lynn as well. Those two are definitely two to watch. Can't wait to see the battle between them two, because rarely do we see good battles between teammates in GP2. It's just how it works. Usually the teams kind of choose one really quick driver and then one kind of slower driver, as you'll see with pretty much all the teams apart from Dams, because those two are two of the quickest guys in GP2 for sure. Let's move on to the next team then. Is Carlin. They've gone Julian Leal and Marco Sorensen. Leal back for another season, pretty much destroyed by Nasr for most of the season. Last season it was pretty good at the start, but just kind of completely tailed off towards the end. Hopefully he's going to be a new driver this year, because he's had a lot of chances entering his 5th season in GP2, so he desperately needs a really good season to be able to continue, and just to kind of prove that he's not just a Colombian paid driver. He's 24 years old. He hasn't really won too many series. He's basically in GP2 for most of his career, and hasn't really got the results to kind of prove it. He's never won in GP2. Although he's been with Trident before, and Rapax, kind of two back teams. He's been with Racing Engineering and Carlin for the previous 2 seasons, so it's a bit of a shame that he hasn't won or even got many podiums. But I'm really hoping that's going to change for 2015. Not a title contender, but certainly should be a contender for podiums, and hopefully for his first win. One person that has got a GP2 race win, despite only being in for half the races last season, is Marco Sorensen. One of the most impressive guys last season. He was in an MP Motorsport car and was getting podiums in even the race victory in Russia. So this guy's definitely one to watch, with the Carlin squad. It could be one of the surprises of the season to come through and, really challenge for the championship. That's really what I'm hoping we're going to see from the young Danish driver, which is also I believe he's part of the Lotus F1 Young Driver Program as well, so watch out for those, two Carlins. Both got a point to prove, I think. Both of them are 24 years old, so they haven't got, kind of long left to kind of progress at the junior ladder. They really need to get, move on if they wanted to get to Formula 1 and, really get these results in, especially, of course, with the super license rules in. It's going to make GP2 even more competitive. Very excited for this season. It's going to be so important to be able to get that top place in the championship. Even in 2nd and 3rd now are going to be much, harder for, because kind of last season I got the feeling that Nasr didn't really care. I mean, I suppose he was off to F1 anyway, but we should see a really close fight all the way to the end, even if the championship has been won. Let's move on to ART then. Stoffel Van Dorn and Nobuhiro Matsushita. I do apologise for pronouncing that wrong. It's the reigning Japanese Formula 3 champion, so if you do know how to pronounce it, please put it down in the comment section below. A very fast Japanese guy, we've seen before many people come from Japan into GP2 and, other formulas not do too well. It's kind of a different ball game to, kind of Japanese racing, but I think, he could definitely book the trend to be the kind of next Kobayashi perhaps. It'd be really cool to see that. He's backed by Honda and it's going to probably be the first of many Japanese drivers, backed by Honda. He's 21 years old, so much younger than, Izawa, who was in the car last year. I think it was about 30. So this guy's actually a proper young driver, and has a potential future in motorsport. So he's a name to watch out for this year. If he can match Van Dorn, then that'd be brilliant, because Van Dorn is the odds-on favourite for the championship this year, and it's not hard to see why. Some brilliant performances at the end of last season, and he'll be hoping to continue that. So watch out for Van Dorn, but also watch out for the young Japanese guy. We never know. Moving on to racing engineering, they've gone with Jordan King and Alexander Rossi. Of course, Jordan King, the current Manor Reserve driver, of course, largely thanks to his dad being one of the key investors, Justin King, also the former owner of Sainsbury's. Alexander Rossi, of course, also been affiliated with the Man Marussia squad in recent years, and of course with Caterham. Sadly, never got to drive. It's always a bit of a shame I felt, but Marussia didn't run two cars in Russia, but obviously cleared. There's nice respect for Bianchi, but obviously I don't think they had the money for it. As we saw him collapse a few races later. Would Rossi have been in that car? Probably. Will he be in it now? Well, of course not, because, King's got that reserve drive now. I think King, we could see him replace Merry, maybe even halfway through the season if he has a good GP2 campaign, or if his dad just, has the budget to kind of put him in there. So, Jordan King's one to watch for the future. Maybe not in terms of kind of the fastest guy in GP2, but he's certainly one of the best well-placed to get into Formula 1. Alice is Alexander Rossi. As some people seem to believe an American team must have an American driver, and you know what? They could be right. So we could see Rossi heading to Haas. It's just going to depend on how this GP2 season goes. Rossi finally got a chance to shine, and I really, really hope he does. Move on to Russian time. They've one of the only teams to actually retain their lineup from last season. Actually, they're probably I think they are the only team to retain their lineup from last season. So it just shows how much changes, between years in GP2. Yeah, they are definitely the only team to maintain their lineup. Mitch Evans and Alta Markelov. I think it's a good move. A bit of continuity might just be what they need. Markelov, was really kind of inconsistent last year, but showed so much pace. If he can iron that out, then he could be a great number 2 to Mitch Evans, who of course is going to be going for the championship. We've seen Sam Bode in 2013 race for Russian time and really challenge for the championship. That's exactly what Mitch Evans wants to do. He's going to have to push, Van Dorn and the two Dams drivers all the way. But I really think, he can mount a series title challenge. He's just going to have to rely on his really good racecraft, because I don't think the Russian time car alone is going to be able to, try and get pole positions and that. We've seen that last year where, qualifying always, kind of wasn't that good for Mitch Evans, but he really got some really good starts and, really got off the line well in the feature races, making progress with the field, and of course the sprint race as well. Saw him win a couple of races last season, but he really wants to try and win a few more this season. Markelov definitely got to go for some podiums and just points more consistently. Crashed into way too many times. So if he can keep on the road and he can get some luck, it could be a really solid year for the young Russian, and he could definitely prove that he's not just a paid driver and he deserves to be in GP2. Trident have gone with Rafael Marcelo and René Binder. Of course, Marcelo, the young Ferrari driver, of course, drove for Sauber in FP1 in Malaysia. You guys will know him from that, and of course, very talented driver. We saw him last season in GP2 Racing Engineering, one of the stars of the season. Just absolutely amazing to watch. I'm a massive fan of him. I think he's such an exciting driver to watch. Many people massive fans of him just because he's so exciting to watch. Great overtaking, great battling. Bit too inconsistent and has no luck, so he'll be hoping that's going to change. He's with a new team now, Trident, kind of a downgrade I think, but he's saying, don't underestimate Trident, so we'll have to see. His teammate René Binder, one of the most experienced guys in GP2, sadly not one of the fastest for him, but I suppose, he's in a pretty good team now. He's got really good teammates, so if he can match or even beat him on occasions, he's going to prove that Binder's not just kind of there because of the money, although he probably is. It's a good chance for the young Austrian to, really prove themselves as, a worthy kind of contender for some top seats, because, the last seasons, in GP2 it was just been with Lazarus and Arden. He did a pretty good job with Arden, but got outstayed, by Rookie and Andre Negrão, who we'll come on to next. As we move on to the Arden team itself, they've got Andre Negrão and Norman Nato. And the crowd really fast racer. We saw him this season just completely turn it around in the second half of the season. First half of the year wasn't that good, but he's just a different driver in the second half. Really, really impressive stuff from him. Norman Nato, of course, raced in Formula Renault 3.5 before. You know, really popular driver, really great guy. You know, he's got a Bianchi tribute helmet, always on Twitter replying to fans. So, you know, really great personality. And, you know, pretty fast in Formula 3.5. He's probably going to be finishing similar places. Should be a really great fight between the Grau and Nato. Both probably kind of, you know, creeping into the points, possibly going for that reverse grid pole. So, you know, definitely watch out for them too. For, you know, a surprise, you know, sprint race win, you know, could be on the cards for them. Campos Racing have gone with Arthur Peak and Rio Haryanto. Arthur Peak back for another year. Really impressive stuff in 2014. He's in a Campos and was just doing so well. I mean, he did have a pretty poor teammate in Sato, but he was mighty impressive. Haryanto, of course, been in the case for him, you know, last season. So now he's out of that. Let's hope he can, you know, do really well this year. Finally, you know, be able to have a chance to shine. Of course, his teammate Alexander Rossi has also got promotion, so I know it should be a really good season, I think, for those two. Certainly better than last season. Arthur Peak, you can, you know, just do a better, the same or even better than last year, and that'll be a fantastic year for him. Hopefully he can build on it. Could even be a surprise, you know, championship contender. You never know. You know, Campos are a really great team. It was a debut season last season, so you know, if they build on that, there's no reason why, you know, he could be one of the surprises and be fighting at the front. Although testing doesn't really suggest that. You can't read too much into testing, you know. Let's see. MP Motorsport, I've gone with Sergio Canamassas and Daniel de Jong. Sadly, the worst lineup on the grid, undoubtedly, I think. Sorry, any Canamassas fans, but I don't think there really are any. And, you know, probably just have wool over their eyes. But Canamassas, not the best driver. De Jong, not the best driver either. Canamassas, you know, been in the championship since 2012, haven't really done much apart from just crash a lot, get a really bad reputation. You know, he's really dangerous. Just watched the Italian Grand Prix of last year. Just, you know, really bad stuff from Canamassas. Not the best driver. You know, most of the drivers kind of hate him. They're kind of, you know, feary of him. Johnny de Jong as well, not the fastest driver. Probably going to be at the back. See those two probably at the back. I mean, Canamassas has a bit of pace. I mean, he's faster than de Jong, but it's not like, you know, Johnny Giacoto Jr., who crashed a lot in 2013, but he just got his act together for 2014, and, you know, generally have some pace. If we can see that from Canamassas, I'll be so happy, but I really doubt it. Hopefully he's going to be replaced mid-season if he continues to crash in the first half, because no matter how much money he brings, surely MP Motorsport can't put up with this. I mean, they've got by far the worst lineup on the grid. I really do feel for them, so it's not going to be the best year for MP Motorsport after such a strong last year, you know, finishing ahead of a lot of other teams that, you know, they've been finishing behind for so long. So, you know, it's really good to see, you know, them doing so well. On to the next team then, that's Rapax. So we've got Sergei Dropkin and Robert Visayo. Sorry, I can't pronounce that right. It's, of course, from GP3. Sorokin, of course, well known for nearly getting the Sauber seat the past couple of seasons. Didn't pay off for him, but, you know, he's back now and you know, racing in, you know, high tiers of motorsport, just like it was in Formula 3.5 last season. Hopefully he can do well this season in his rookie season for GP2. If he can beat his teammate and, you know, kind of get a few podiums, I think are possible. You know, of course, an all-new lineup for Rapax, not this time going for Trummer. It's a pretty solid lineup. I think it's probably not the best. You know, Robert's a pretty fast racer, but I think Sorokin should have the better of him. You know, did pretty well in Formula 3.5. Really excited to see what he's going to do in 2015 in GP2. Status have gone with Marlon Stockinger and Richie Stanaway. Really happy to announce Richie Stanaway is, you know, going to be driving for Status this year. Marlon Stockinger, a pretty fast racer, you know, raced in Formula 3.5. Another guy from there has moved across. You know, Stanaway raced in GP3 for Status, so they've got a good team bond. Should be a really close fight between them. Definitely podiums are possible. Status are a great team despite it being, you know, their rookie season in GP2. I'm pretty sure they're going to be quick from the off and, you know, should be fighting for points. Podiums, possibly even the odd race win. You know, definitely watch out for Stockway and Stanaway. Hill Motorsport are still yet to announce their drivers, so they're going to be missing race 1 in Bahrain, just to, you know, to note that. So there's only going to be 24 cars on the grid in Bahrain, which is slightly disappointing, but, you know, that's just the way it is. I'm not quite sure why Hilmer aren't making it. You know, they haven't got any drivers yet, but I doubt that that's anything too much to do with it. It's just slightly strange, you know, with them doing all the tests, but they're going to be in round 2 from Spain onwards, so that'll be nice to see, of course, running the Force India livery. Who's going to be driving for them? I'd probably say Nick Lowley and Robert Melker, just to give a quick prediction there. Lazarus have gone with Nathaniel Berton and Zol Amberg. Berton, of course, raced in GP2 many years, and this is going to be the rookie season for Zol Amberg. So it's going to be a tough season for Lazarus. And, you know, Berton has been with Lazarus, you know, last season with, of course, Connor Daly. But it was a really tough season for for Lazarus last season, when one of the, you know, on a shoestring budget basically. So you know, good luck to Lazarus, but it's going to be another difficult year. They'll just have to try and beat someone else and just kind of get a bit of better luck than last year. we'll have to see. Is Ollenberg, embarking on his rookie season? It's pretty good to have a rookie season with kind of a back team. Just get used to it, iron out your mistakes, and he'll be hoping he can progress up the field. But we could see mid-season changes. We always do. We're going to start the season with 26 drivers. We're probably going to expand to around 32, 33. So just because your favourite driver's not on the grid now doesn't mean, they might be appearing later on. Maybe some of the more experienced GP2 guys might come back. That'd be really cool to see. Johnny Cecotto Jr., of course, not racing this year. Stefano Coletti, Jolyon Palmer, of course, banned. Stefano Riquelme, I said that. Conor Daly's not racing. So, there's quite a lot of people not racing. Felipe Nasr, of course. It's a lot of the top guys from last season, and of course, the season before, James Collado, Sam Bird, Fabio Lima. We see a lot of big names dropping off every season, of course, just due to them moving up or just, completely dropping out of motorsport or moving across to endurance, whatever. This season I think it's going to be really good in terms of prediction. Got to say Van Dorn for the championship, and probably for the constructors, I've got to say Dams. I think Gasly and Lynn are going to push him all the way. I really want this to be a really close fight. I want Mitch Evans in there as well, Alexander Rossi even, Julian Leal, Marcus Sorensen, Rafael Marcelo, Alpha Peak. It'd be great to see so many different drivers winning races. If you look further down, Richie Stanaway even for status. So it should be a really great season. You guys can let me know your predictions for the GP2 season down in the comment section below. I've been Racing. See you guys next time. Goodbye.